around. Is there anybody out there? If so, how are you doing? What are you up to? I do apologise, we had slight technical issues, as technical issues mainly that I am a cretin. But yes, we're here now, so apologies for that. Once again, we are live on YouTube here and Facebook here. So, yeah, that's twice the opportunity for me to make a twat of things. How is everybody? How are you? What are you up to? Is the season pretty much over? I think it kind of is now, isn't it? I mean, fair play, it is tail end of October, and we did get some pleasant October weather just for the last bit of the season. Hello, Kim. How are you? You all right? So, yeah, we did have some fairly pleasant weather, but the last thing I went to was Melbourne. Because, like I say, when I was at Melbourne... Hello, Dave, how you doing, mate? How's things going with you? When I was at Melbourne, I woke up the morning of Melbourne and felt a bit cack, you know. Anyway, thought, well, still going to go to Melbourne, so drove to Melbourne, had a quick wander around, and I thought, I'm absolutely knackered. That is when I went for a kip in the Mustang. I managed to sleep through most of the afternoon's racing at the far end of the pits, and just about made it home. And that's when I tested myself a Speedicus, which is Mike, isn't it? Hey, all right, matey, how's it going? Which is when I tested myself and I got fucking COVID. So last week, hello Biff, how are you doing, matey? How's things with you? So last week was basically written off. I was fit for absolutely nothing, except sitting there looking like that a lot. I mean, even more than usual, and wondering why everything I was eating tasted like I'd found it in the Hoover bag. So yeah, basically my car work and whatnot has been zero since a week last Sunday. So I'm really hoping that you guys have got more interesting stuff to talk about than I have. And if so, what is it? Please do spit it out. So yeah, anyway, last Sunday, having been laid up for a week, I finally blew a green on the Wu-Tam breathalyzer. Hello, Nick. How are you doing, matey? How's things with you? Yeah, the Wuhan breathalyzer, and yeah, I've been at work all week because yes, because if I'm off sick, I don't get things like overtime or shift allowance, and I really, really, really need those things. So there we go. So I've been back at work all week, and that's as exciting and entertaining as my week has got. How entertaining and exciting are things? Well, everybody else is downstairs watching Bake Off. Now, I mean, I love cakes as much as the next man. In fact, possibly more than the next. In fact, generally, if there's cake to be had, I will fight the next man. But do I want to watch an hour and a half programme about it? No. So, there we go. That's what's happening. That's how rock and roll things are. The fact that it is now absolutely pitch black and has been for well over an hour means that winter is upon us, which is biscuits. I have certainly not finished with this year yet. So at the end of this month, well, what's happening this weekend? Precious little. I know there is still one or two sort of like cruises and things like that. There's a Run What You Brung, including Saturday night special on at Santa Pod. So you get to race late into the evening. Fingers crossed the weather will be good. And it's the last all-comers round of Outlaw Street. So the last all-comers round, because the final round is next weekend, and it's only for post-1973 cars. That's because Outlaw Street have a couple of heats at, oh Christ, the Nostalgia Nats and the Hot Rod Drags where they have a 1973 cut-off. So, so post-73 cars can't run there. So they're having a special event, special day at the tail end of the season, just for anybody with a post-73 car, pick up a few points they might have missed earlier. And then that's it. So, I say, next weekend, of course, a week on Saturday is Flame and Thunder at Santa Pod. And I know that's a big deal. That really is sort of the last hurrah of the season for Santa Pod. And that's on the Saturday. Don't make the mistake I did many, many years ago, good God, at least 25 years ago, of telling my mates that, oh, there's this great event on at Santa Pod, and after decking around all swining day, we got down to Santa Pod. In the evening, the racing had finished. That was on the Saturday night. So we went to the pub, slept in our cars. Terrible idea. Woke up Sunday to find that the event was only on the Saturday, and today it was just run what you run. And I made all my mates come all this way for nothing. But they still enjoyed it. I think that was the event where I thought it would be a really good idea to moon my mates off the waltzers. However, you turn around in your seat in the waltzers and drop your trousers, and all that happens is all your money falls out your pockets and goes flying everywhere. So yeah, don't do that. In fact, you'll probably still find some change down the back of the seats in those waltzers if you look carefully. And it was lost by me some 25 years ago. So, there you go. So that's the Saturday is Flame and Thunder. Sunday, the 29th, is it? Yes, 29th, is the Northern Swap Meet. And once again, that's being held up at Melbourne. And the inaugural Melbourne Swap Meet was, it's the NSRA Northern Swap Meet, but it's being held at Melbourne. If you were there last year, you'll remember that the weather was bloody horrible. It was rather nippy overnight because, yes, I decided I was going to try and sell some gubbins, and I, myself and James, got there Saturday night, late of course, and we kicked in the vans where it was damn cold, got up in the morning, set up our stands, and as soon as the gates opened to the public, the rain started belting down, and it belted down. It was bouncing off the pits. And it stayed bouncing off the pits until the minute the last man finally gave up and said, oh, sod this, I'm going to pack up and go home. Packed up, on his way home, rain stopped, sun came out, and it was glorious. Absolutely beautiful afternoon. So, yes, let's hope for not a repeat performance of that shit, please. So, yeah, that's a week on Sunday. Evening, other Mike, how are you doing, buddy? How's things with you? And Dave Rushforth, hello. How are you, sir? Are you all right? There's a lot of Mustang people about tonight, isn't there? So, Dave, yeah, Mike, Nick. So, yeah, let's hope for a better time. I am hoping to go along to the swap meet. I will not be selling anything because I am sufficiently disorganised, and I shall not be buying anything. Oh no! I'm not going to part with any money and buy junk that I don't need. Hello, Ian. How are you, sir? Not too bad, mate. And yes, the family's all right now. Yes, Mrs. had COVID, and blame me, of course. However, everybody else in the house seems to have escaped it. The house isn't big enough. It's not like I sequestered myself in the East Wing. No, the house is tiny, but they all seem to escape COVID. Even when I had it, I shall have to breathe on them more heavily. But yes, so everybody's okay. Thank you very much, Ian. And you? How's things with you? How's the repaint coming along? And yeah, I've no idea where I was now. So yeah, not buying anything at the swap meet. No. Not even if there's anything really bargainous. Yeah. So that's it. There's not a lot going on this weekend. The last things you could look forward to really for the year are next weekend. Anyway, so yeah, that's next weekend. Did you have some copies of HRG to sell? Yes, I did. That was the when I thought, oh, well, I've managed to put together a PDF version of Hot Rod Gazette. I wonder if anybody would like a printed copy. I'll have some printed, and I had them some printed and they were sold. That was coming up to now a year ago, and you can see how well I've cracked on with issue 2. I have to do everything outside, so rain stop. Oh dear, oh that's a bit of a pain in the arse, Ian. I suspect that is going to be a feature of the remainder of the year and a large lump of the start of next. Trying to get a 302 balanced at the machine shop. The 3 balancers, all junk. Hell's bells. Wow. I mean, aside from actual damage, because a balancer is kind of in 2 parts, isn't it? Sort of an inner and an outer. But aside from actual damage, how do you junk a balancer? Well, because presumably if there's sort of like a 4th one is going to be new. Good. If there's some sort of elastomer or whatever between the inner and the outer part, then I suppose theoretically it can wear out or something, or what, degrade? I don't know. How do you junk a harmonic balancer? So, as it happened, a good friend of mine asked if he could borrow, I say borrow, sort of borrow, a sump from a Fox Mustang. And that got me thinking about the 302 that I have in kit form, knocking around the garage, and you know when you have a horrible sort of bucket of cold water realisation, which is that you had a very nice 302, late 302 block from an Explorer, I believe, and you got it stashed away in the garage, but you never got around to putting grease down the bores, and you suddenly realise, shit, that's been knocking around now for over a year with no grease in the bores. First one was a 28 ounce version. So I take it this is a stock, 50 ounce motor. Second one was Chinese that had too much slop in the fit. Third one had bad rubber and bad run out. Okay. Fair enough. So yeah, the first one, 28 ounce, that won't work, will it? Although the one I've got has got bolt-on weights to suit. You know, you bolt on this weight for a 28 ounce balance, you bolt on this weight for a 50 ounce balance, 50 ounce roller motor. So yeah, so anyway, so I did think, yeah, shit, I've probably codged that motor from leaving it lying around with bare bores. What a tit. Then I thought I really ought to get around to actually building that. I've got all the parts to build it as sort of like a stock motor, assuming all it needs is rings and bearings. And yeah, I thought I've got all the bits, and now I've just given the sump away. I say giving it away. So yeah, that was clumsy. And then I thought, stock motor, do I, don't I? Well, you've got nothing to put it in. Doesn't matter, should I build it stock or should I build it? I do happen to have some stroker pistons, yes, but you don't have the stroker crank. And the last time this happened, 28 ounce one was provided with a short block, so I thought that was the correct one. Okay. Oh, right, okay. So what is it, a factory crank, this 302? Yeah, so, like I say, the last time I built the engine, I thought, oh, I'll just do this, and I'll just do that, and I'll just do the other, and I ended up using 3 factory parts in the entire build. One was the block, one was the timing cover, and one was the sump. Everything else was aftermarket. It took a long time, and it cost me a great deal of money, which is foolish. This time I'm thinking, why don't you just put it together with all the stock parts you've got which are just lying around. And then, like I say, you go, I do have those stroker pistons. So if I just buy a stroker crank and just buy the correct rods, but then you'll need to have the block board. But you've left it lying around with no grease down the board, so chances are it's going to need a bore anyway. Oh, it's going to need a bore. You may as well build a stroker motor. Oh, stop it, Jesus Christ! This is it. We're at the top of the slippery slope again. 20 thou overboard. Oh, well, there we go. I need to bore out 30 thou because it seems that you can't buy stroke pistons in stock bores. Or maybe I just looked wrong, but there we go. So, yes, like I say, I have a set of 30 thou over Icon pistons for a stroker motor. Nice mild stroker, but ooh. Stop it, Dave. Stop it, Dave. I also have I have an AOD that needs a rebuild. I have an AOD automatic, and it needs a rebuild. And I bought a massive rebuild kit from TCI, so you sort of rebuild it and upgrade it as you go. And the only automatic gearbox that had ever been inside before was, oh, what was it? It's an A4LD, the Ford Auto that you get in Europe behind like Granada V6s and stuff. Late Granada and Scorpio V6s. They ain't that tough. They certainly don't like towing, as I found out. And basically you take them apart and everything is on one sort of central shaft like a fucking kebab. So you take the whole thing out and disassemble it on the bench at your leisure. And as it happens, as I had no intention of reassembling this thing, it was purely a spectating exercise, an investigative look. I had no intention of putting it back together, so I didn't pay that much attention to how it came apart. And that was the only time I'd been inside an auto. So basically, all these things, magic happens, drive comes out the other end, no problem. So yeah, when I asked a couple of people who know better, I said, could I rebuild an AOD? They said, have you ever rebuilt a gearbox before? I said, no. They said, don't let an AOD be your first rebuild. So, and since that day, I have never rebuilt an auto gearbox because I find them much like computers, which is, here's a box with a computer. So, wire goes in this end, wire comes out that end. In the middle, magic happens, and the right things come out this end. So the little pixies that live in there, as long as they're working, I don't bother them. And yes, auto gearboxes are much the same thing. So power goes in one end, and different ratio thingies come out the other. And as long as that is happening, leave it alone. Don't dick with it. Leave it alone. I have given up on my Chrysler. Yes, this happened a couple of weeks ago, and I just thought, you know what? It's got a couple of issues. I thought, yeah, I can probably overcome these issues, but at the minute I have an ever-increasing shopping list of parts. And then while I was sitting on the ground working on the back brakes, I noticed that there is nice plastic sill panel trim. What's that between the sill panel trim and the rear passenger side doorstep? It's a big bubbly bit, isn't it? What am I going to find if I start poking that big bubbly bit? Close that door and let's punt it off. So yeah, the Chrysler's going. Yeah, it didn't show up on the MOT, of course, because, well, MOT tester's not going to take the big plastic panel, sill trim panel off and tap behind it, is he? No, that's your job. So, there we go. So all the, oh, grief, literally more than half a dozen people. If anybody has something else to chip in with, please do. Because like I say, I've got cockle. So what is everybody else up to? What are you doing to entertain yourself now the nights are drawing in? No, not, no, thank you, Morris, not that. Nobody needs to see that. So yeah, if there's anything you guys are doing, please do tell. Because like I say, I've got nothing. What did I see today that really, really, really made me think, ooh? It was a kit car. And it was in a right bloody state, and it was one of those ones that looks vaguely like maybe something like a Morgan if you squint a lot and look at it like this. Hello, Colin. And it was a proper 70s thing, and it was in a right state, and it had like a Marina engine in it. Do you remember when they had the O series Marina engine? But it was cheap, and it came with that thing that we all really, really should be looking for, a logbook. And this logbook was nicely, date first registered as this. I can't remember what make model it was. 1976. Great, and it was clearly, had been made from the bits of a Marina or something. And I'm pretty sure they did they have the O series engine in the Marina in 1976? Anyway, whatever. It looked like the logbook was a get out of jail free card. And it was cheap. And I thought it's probably worth that these days just for the logbook. I saw another one. It was a Janetta. Cheap. Couple of £100. It was a ruin. But it had a really nice get out of jail free logbook. And I'm thinking, these are things that we could do with saving right now. Because once they're gone, there aren't that many get out of jail free cards to go around. But there we go. This is just another of my bright ideas. Is anybody else doing anything interesting? Or even boring? Please do tell, because otherwise it's just me scraping the barrel. No, I'm sorry, I've got nothing. I haven't even been down to the workshop since the 7th. And the only reason I went down the workshop then was to take the Mustang back and come home in the Mercedes. Right. Mike says, elaborate on the get out of jail free card thing. I'm a Yank that doesn't know. Yes, this is the wonderful British bureaucracy. Basically, on your logbook, with things like kit cars, back in the day, you generally managed to keep, if the kit had a one vehicle donor, I mean, like in this case, if you bought your kit of parts and you needed to buy a rusty or bent, say, Morris Marina, you generally managed to somehow fandangle it to keep the reg and ID of the donor vehicle. It was a bit of a cop-out, but it worked, and, we got away with it because nobody cared. Hello, Nick. We've been talking to you on Facebook. No, I haven't seen a damn thing, Nick. Sorry, mate. I can see people, Phil Barnett's joined in, but there's no comments coming up on Facebook at all. Sorry. No, nor yours, Biff. So, well, yeah, you're welcome along. So if you're on Facebook and you're sending in, you're typing in comments, whatever, I'm not seeing them. Sorry. Don't know why. So yeah, you generally manage to keep. You either got the donor vehicle's ID and logbook, or if it had to go on a Q plate, and a Q was given to a vehicle of indeterminate age or origin. And back then it was like, oh, if you had a Q plate, it meant your car was a ringer, basically. No, it didn't. But that was the sort of stigma that came with it. It's like, oh, if your car's been stolen and recovered or whatever, and you got issued a Q plate, bit dodgy, don't touch it with a shitty stick. A lot of kit cars were issued with Q plates. And they're the things to have, because they are a government issued, free pass almost. Now, if you go and, so we've been telling you loads of shit and you thought nobody had anything to say. Yeah, nobody's had anything to say at all. I was about to call you all a shatter of bastards. Yeah, so a Q plate, if you go now for IVA, and you'll get issued a Q plate, great. That's just what you want, because, like I say, it's kind of future-proof, which is the whole point of IVA anyway. But, like I say, if you have an old kit car with a nice separate chassis and a Q plate, it is a bit of a get-out-of-jail-free card. There's a lot you can do that doesn't come under the heading of serious modification, for a start. Because is your vehicle seriously or significantly modified? I don't know. Or does it conform to the manufacturer's original specifications? What were the manufacturer's original specifications? It's a kit car. It was built by some bloke in a shed, and I don't believe he wrote any standard operating procedures on the way while he was building it. If you can tell me what the original specs were, I can tell you whether it's been modified. I've bought a ton of new tools, 3-ton trolley jack, says Biff, more axle stands, coil spring compressors, ooh, nice, cordless angle grinder, cordless impact gun, huge DeWalt socket. Bloody hell, Biff, have you won the lottery or what? Or have you just been out on the rob? I had a 1987 Escort EXP. Bloody hell. There's a car that just didn't seem to take off anywhere, that, did it? But yes, that's another thing, is a lot of imports ended up on Q plates, because again, it was back in the day, obviously before the internet, before you could get a nice dating certificate. For a long time, especially during the 70s, American cars that came in were registered when they were imported, not when they were built. Which is why you used to get a lot of early 70s Camaros and Firebirds and stuff on late 70s registrations. But the DVLA issued them, so, you know, there's nothing dodgy going on. Then they said, well, this is wrong, isn't it? So they said, right, can you prove when the vehicle was built, and we'll give you an age-related plate? Well, no, I can't prove when it was built. There's bits missing or whatever. I don't know. I can't tell you what year it was built. Right, then you get a Q plate. And again, but it's still genetic. And yes, I was not pretty. But, like I say, come on, Biff, I want to know why you've treated yourself to all these tools. So yeah, if it was of indeterminate age, i.e. you couldn't prove exactly when it was built so they could give you an age-related plate, you ended up with a Q. Not a lottery win. In the words of Harry Enfield, I'm considerably more richer than Yao. Yes. So, yeah, that's why some cars ended up on Q plates. Another, talking of Yanks in Britain, Mike, a lot of especially pickup trucks that ended up on Q plates were ones that had come off American air bases that, of course, had been here for years, never been registered. So when they were sold off, they had to be registered as imports, which was tricky because they've been on UK soil. Well, sorry, they'd been in the UK, but on, say, a USAF air base for donkeys. And when they went to be registered for the road, nobody knew how old they were or anything. So they got bunged on Q plates. People hated this at the time, and now, like I say, if you have a Q plate, look after it. Now, there is absolutely nobody watching the Facebook thing, so I don't know why there's no, I can't see comments or anything. I can only apologise to you. Come over and join us on the YouTube channel. To be honest, I had a solid full week's wages at double time. Wow. Full 38 hours. I remember my first part-time job. Yes, I've done some overtime this week, and I was thinking, woohoo, lucky me, ka-ching. And then I noticed that the front tyres on the Mercedes are nearly bowled. And with, because I have to drive back roads to work, you know, B roads, and when it's raining, there's big puddles, and when it's windy, there is big lumps of tree on the ground. I really would like to be able to sort of steer and stop as well as I can. So, looks like that's where that's going. I'll probably end up with some Chinese radials on it, but hey-ho, as long as they help me steer and stop, I'll be very, very happy. And that's where, unless, ooh, I don't know, what if I happen to go to the swap meet and somebody happens to be selling some 195 65 15s? That is the standard tyre size on a 90s C-Class, well, the lower end of the C-Class spectrum, the 90s C-Class Mercedes. Steel wheels and 195 65 15 tyres, which doesn't seem like a lot of tyre for what was a fairly big, heavy saloon car. But there we go. Maybe somebody will have some at the swap meet for a bargain price. Yeah, all right, better go to the swap meet then, hadn't I? Or maybe they won't. Yes, like I say, I might end up with some cheap Chinese radials. But yeah, that is massively under-tired for such a big car. In fact, the 2003 Fiesta on the drive has more tyre than the 1996 Mercedes parked out on the road. Oh, but I am buying a set of new discs for the vet tomorrow and rear shocks. Okie dokie, crikey, Riley. Yeah, you're just splashing your cash about. Did you get your suspension arms done in the end? Your, what was it, Impala upper and lower arms or something? I apologise for that horrible noise. So, yes, if there's anybody out there in Facebook land, I do apologise. Don't know why it's not working. I may well blow it out in a minute. So yes, if anybody else has anything to add, please do so. Because, yeah, like I say, I'm struggling, got nothing. Kit cars, yes, if somebody offers you an old 70s kit car with a separate chassis, buy it. I have, yes, not fitted yet, but, oh, right, okay, cool. If I come across any at the swap meet, I promise I will not buy them, then sell them to you at an extortionate profit. Ah, boy. But you see, you're far too generous, Nick. You're far too warm-hearted, and this is why people like you will never be rich, because you'll happily help your friends out rather than shit on them from a height. Ah, dear. No, I've got net. So please, yes, do chip in if you got anything to say. Otherwise, I think I'm going to end up going and having my dinner. Because there's something that smells lovely down there and it isn't me. Nor is it Morris. No, shut up. Go away. Back in your box. After 2 weeks in the States, I have little motive. Oh, right. Oh, you've been back stateside for a while. Business or pleasure? I own an American car, that's why I'll never be rich. And that's another of the reasons you'll never be rich. Yeah, we don't do ourselves many favours in that department, do we? What little money we do have, we find inventive new ways of pissing up the wall, like buying old cars and stuff. I mean, you could buy yourself a fleet of ruined 70s kit cars, and when Carol says, "What the fuck?" you can say, "Oh, Dave said it was an investment opportunity." That way she'll come and poke me in the eye instead. I spilled coffee down my shirt. Damn it. Anybody? Anything? Please? Right. No, like I say, I have nothing. Looking around for anything interesting to talk about? No, it's just junk, just like wall-to-wall junk here, nothing good either. A vast blue teddy bear and some parcel tape. No, Morris, I know you can think of something to do with it. Please don't share. Dealing with my property in the States, moving household items and cars. Ooh, moving cars. Cars plural. Now, I like the sound of that. That's why Listy bought his 32, already passed the IVA test. Yes, quite right. And yes, it pisses me off that it's actually necessary because, you know, all this, we're going to make you put your vehicle through this IVA test. It's a pain in the ring. It costs a lot of money. I can kind of see where it's come from if there's any question of the vehicle's provenance, if you like. And if it's basically a stolen ringer, yes, I'd quite like them to catch them out. But it's like, you know, that 32, the old 32s that were built on, was it Rod Shop or something like that? And you basically needed a Cortina front and rear end, and away you go. The Ginetta factory is only about 7 miles from... Oh, right, okay. Well, hiya, Paul, how you doing? Yeah, unfortunately, I can't see any comments or anything on the Facebook side, so if you want to come over to the YouTube side and join us there, we'd be delighted to see you. Yeah, I mean, the current crop of Ginettas, they have their own sort of racing series and all sorts. They actually are quite handsome. This one that I was talking about was one of those that was built in the early 80s, and it was really wedgy. And I'm sure it used like Fiesta running gear or something CVH anyway. But yeah, the current crop of Ginettas are quite not a bad looking thing. Do remolds exist these days? I thought they'd be cheaper than China-made copies. I can't remember why I started looking at this. Kingpin remolds are still going, and they'll still do car and truck tyres. And you'd think in this day and age of reuse and recycle and this and the other, people would be yelling about remoulded tyres. But I think the problem is that over the years, remould has got such a bad rep that, yeah, they are, the stigma is still there. Modern race Ginettas are LS powered, yes, and probably a lot of fun as well. Fox abroad, I had a garage built, says Mike. 40 by 70, oh you bastard. Now over here, you see, Mike, that will be called a mansion. But 40 by 70, oh, damn it. I'm jealous as arseholes now. Move my items out of storage and into the garage to stop paying monthly rent, fair enough. Move my 66 F100 and 73 Mach 1. But hold on, this... does this mean you're going home, Mike? This does all sound like you're building up to buggering off back to the States. You can't do that. Fastcar fan says, saw the Ginettas at a test day at Donington early this year, entertaining to watch with spins on almost every corner. Bloody hell. That's I'm sure that the Ginetta class was for juniors. It was either for younger drivers or novices or something like that. And you did get the impression that most of them were just tonking around and a lot of daddy's money. In a few years, oh shit, mate. Oh. Well, are you still employed by the military over here? And I don't. You don't. You can tell me to fuck off if you want. I'm just wondering. I mean, are you on a sort of a contract or something that ends in X? But yeah, oh shit, man. That'll be a lot of good Mustang knowledge buggering off back to the States right there. So use it while you can. Yeah, they had the Ginetta Junior Championship, in fact. Yes, that's definitely a lot of rich parents living vicariously through their kids. Oh, dear me. In about 2 years, I'm going to start the house build endeavour on the property. That's it. I didn't know whether you were actually military, but I knew you were over here working with or for the military. RAF, okay, yes. Well, I wish you the very, very best of luck with whatever you do. But yeah, well, we're sorry to see you go, man. This coffee's nearly cold. So, yes, I wouldn't mind a nice LS-powered Ginetta. But there we go. Like I say, the one I saw was probably powered by a 1600 CVH. And it wasn't that nice. It was fugly. However, separate chassis, Q-plate. Right. Well, that's enough of that shite. So, has anybody else got anything to chip in with? If so, please do so. Desperado, fast as possible, because otherwise I'm going to shove off. If you got anything going on this weekend, do say. If you, in fact, if you know of anything happening, is anybody, for instance, exhibiting at the NEC Classic Car Show? Because that's coming up in, ooh, that's only a couple of weeks. It's sort of early mid-November, I think. Anybody else got anything to look forward to? Anybody going to Malta? No, the MDRA's finale fling finals of the year. And I think it's the last full weekend in November, is it? That kind of sounds right. So 24th, 25th, that neck of the woods. So Christmas is still a month away, but it's still fecking November. So yeah, I'm still thinking of going. I'm thinking of going for the weekend. Why go abroad like that for the weekend? Because I can't get time off work. But I still quite fancy going. Not doing the Classic Car Show for the first time in about 10 years. Didn't remortgage in time to pay the parking. You know what? I managed to fandangle a press pass last year. I say fandangle purely because the lady who deals with things like press passes, I remembered her, and she remembered me from when I actually was press, and she bunged me a press pass and a free parking ticket, and I went all around the show, and I thought, kind of glad I didn't pay for this. It's a good day out because at that time of the year there's cock all else to do. But yeah, it's a wad to get in. It's a wad to park your car, and crikey Riley, every time I walk around that show I think this could be any version of this show from the past 20 years. It's all starting to look the same. Okay guys, good night all. Gin to sup, says Biff. Do you know what? Fair enough. I can't I can't imagine you waited this long, to be honest. We'll be at Hal Far in November. 4-day event this year. Thursday to Sunday. Fly out Tuesday. Racing starts the 24th. Hey? Tuesday the 21st. And then the racing starts on Thursday the 23rd. Oh, what happens on Thursday then? Yeah. Just out of interest, how much is it to get into that event? I mean, if you rock up the door and say, half, please, and they'll say, don't be silly. And I'll go, okay, full price ticket for me, please. How much is it? A bunch of the Mopar Muscle Club are on the invite list for the Classic Car Show. Well, don't the Mopar Muscle Club have a big stand? They always used to. Yeah, because I mean, back in the day, in the early 2000s, I worked for Classic American magazine, and of course, and still do, they had their Car of the Year event, their sort of concours event, had its finals at the Classic Car Show. So yeah, you go to all these shows and pick out the most lovely concours car, and invite it to come to the NEC in November, and then you pick the best of that lot, and yeah, it's generally mostly the same clubs every time that have a stand at the show. And that's what I mean. I've been going to that show on and off for neck end of 25 years. And it does get a bit samey. And, I mean, they've done a lot. I mean, now they've got all these live stages and things going on and this, that and the other. But, I mean, God bless Mike Brewer. I would, it would take more than an appearance by him to make me think, yep, that ticket was a bargain. €10 per day. Or €30 for the full event. Jesus, that's what, 25, 26 quid for a 4-day ticket? Oh, damn it. You can even predict exactly where each club will be sited. Yeah. And I often thought about that event. There was one little hall, and it is a little hall. I can't remember what number it is, but it's sort of like tacked on as an afterthought. And if you're not paying attention, if you're not looking at the programme, you might not even realise it's there. And they stick a lot of the smaller clubs, they stick, some smaller clubs, and they ended up with the NSVA in there or something like that. And I thought, all the American cars and all the custom cars should be in here. And it should be themed up like a 70s indoor custom show. It should be a 70s indoor custom show at the side of the Classic Car Show. What do you mean? Always lots of retro Fords in there. Yes, exactly. That's right. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. But beer's cheap in the bar as well. Having never been to that part of the world, what's the beer like? Is it all like bloody Italian lager? Or is there any decent dark beer on the go? But anyway, yeah, I think that little hall should be, stick all the American cars, custom cars, hot rods in there. And let's have some, like spotlights, mirrors on the ground, and that fecking cotton wool stuff knocking around. And yeah. And yeah, and what's it? Super CC and his bird. And yeah, that'll be it. We'll show them we'll show those classic car bastards what a bloody indoor car show should be. Oh dear. Right. I am going to chuff off. I know I started late, but I do apologise. So if you have anything else to add, please add it right now. If you happen to be on Facebook, no, there's nobody on Facebook. Because if you add anything, I won't see it because that's not working. Because Zuckerberg. I don't know. So there we go. If there's nothing else to add, I'm going to shoot through. if if you're up to anything that local beer is called Cisc. It's like Spanish beer, oh dear. Or 2 pub stroke micro breweries. Oh, I like the sound of that. I say I like the sound of that as if it's a done deal that I'm going to be going. So there we go. Have whatever you're doing this weekend, enjoy. Like I say, I don't think we're going to have much good weather for it, but if you're down at Santa Pod, hopefully the rain stays away, you get your racing done. I shall probably be back here Thursday again, possibly. So a week tonight. So whatever you do, Nick Fit lives there now, in Malta. I wondered what happened to him. He was, I last spoke to him about 3 or 4 months ago. He never mentioned that. And now he's just up and buggered off there. Wow. Anyway, so, right, thank you very much for coming along. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for staying, if you put up with the Facebook thing. Yeah, I shall see you, like I say, a week today. You never know, I might have something interesting to say. I wouldn't hold your breath on that one, but it's possible. There's an intervening weekend. So thank you ever so much. We shall see you all later. Whatever you're doing this weekend, have a jolly good one. Thanks a lot. Good night.